Hi, my name is Eric Daw from OmniFit, and before we get into this video today, folks, I have a statement to make, and I want you to actually fill in the blank. So the statement is, older adults should not do blank exercise because of their age. So whatever you put in the blank, is this true? Is this false? Well, we're gonna explore this, and as I like to say, let's get into it. So regardless what you fill the blank in, folks, the answer is false. Big X, false. And the reason it is, older adults should only be restricted to do certain exercises based on their functional abilities, their chronic conditions, and the right to do exercises or a specific exercise. So I'll get in a little further what that means. Your functional abilities are basically what you're physically able to do. So as you know, there's people who are 50 that don't have the same functional ability as someone who is 30. And also, you've seen people who are 80 and have much more functional ability than someone who is 40. Meaning, what can you do? You've all seen people who are much older do things that someone much younger could do. So does that mean just because of their age they shouldn't do an exercise? No, it's based on their ability to do certain activities. So next, when we talk about chronic conditions, what restrictions would you have for chronic conditions? It could be, for example, if you have any sort of really bad range of motion issues from arthritis maybe, chronic conditions like osteoporosis, it could be spinal stenosis. So you might have to modify or change certain activities based on your chronic conditions and also the right to do certain exercises, meaning you've done the lead up or you've modified or you've done certain things to build you up to the points to be able to do certain exercises. So as I mentioned before, it's based on functional abilities, not your age, chronic conditions, and the right to do certain activities. So you may be wondering, based on my condition or my functional ability, will I ever get the right to do certain activities? Well, the answer is yes, depending if you make the right and proper modifications. So I'm going to give you a few examples using a squat, for example, which is a functional exercise that we all should be able to do that shows that you're never too old to do a blank exercise. So one of the biggest reasons or one of the biggest problems people have when it comes to functional abilities of a squat, as I mentioned, is valgus knee, meaning when you squat, your knees typically tend to buckle inwards. And we know this is a problem because it's not good for your knees to go in, but we want them to stay straight or stay in a straight path. So once your leg is in the bed, I have it a little bit above my kneecap and I have it attached right at a post. You can use a bike, you can use anything that does not move. And once I start squatting like a normal squat, like I normally do, this knee is being pulled in naturally to the post it's attached to. If I walk further away, more resistance. And what happens is, by me being able to squat properly, even though I have this band on my outer leg, it strengthens the outer hip muscle that prevents the valgus knee or those knees buckling inside. We ideally want to do this on both legs. So not just on one side, but the other side. So this is a great way to modify and improve your squat just by doing it in a way that forces you or forces your body to the post it's attached to. Exercise number 1. So one of the other things you can do to improve your functional ability to make you not too old to do an exercise like a squat is to use plates. So what I mean by using plates is, I notice when people get older, a lot of times they lose the range of motion in their ankles. And why is that important? The main thing or the main reason you want to have good range of motion in your ankles is your ankles need to bend for you to get low in a squat. So a great way to counteract that or to make it a little easier is to use plates, as I mentioned. So we put the plates on the ground, and to get a little lower, we put our heels on it. And the bigger the plate, the easier it is to go down. So without using a plate, I can go down. But if to make it easier, we can stand on a plate and push like we do a normal squat. So the plates underneath improves your functional ability. This doesn't mean we don't want to improve the range of motion in our ankles. It just means that we can still do the exercise even if we have a bit of a deficit. Exercise number 2. So last but not least, if you have a problem doing an exercise like a squat, why not make it easier by doing it from a chair? A chair is easy because we have to stand up from chairs anyway. So instead of having to put a bar on your back or weights in your hands, you can do them from a chair, which actually simulates a squat anyway. So if I'm sitting on a chair, me being in this position already puts me in a squatting position. So some of you may be wondering, this may be too easy. This is where you can add weights in front of you, you can hold weights beside you, you can modify it in many ways to still do the exercise if you have a problem doing it another way. So you can see how just modifying it this way can still make you do a squat even if you don't have a bar on your back or weights in your hands. So what do you think, folks? Are you too old to do blank exercise? I don't think so, but are there other exercises that you may think you're too old to do? I would love to hear in the comments below. On that note, folks, this is Eric Daw from OmniFit. As I like to say, take care.